because I always wondered what was your entry point, like at what stage? Because for me, things went so fast, bro. Like I went from graduating, and then suddenly they were like, Culture's Comedy Funhouse. And then it's like, don't perform those songs. Just talk about your stories because we like it. And then suddenly, I'm doing stand-up.
Yes,
Like, I never announced myself as a stand-up, right?
It just started
So
happening.
I always think, at what transition, during my timeline, at what point was your entry point? I always wondered that.
Mine was probably the university circuits while I was also hosting Sunday shows.
Right.
So like I was performing, I would either host shows at some of the universities or I was just doing stand-up. So at first it was mainly stand-up.
Yeah.
Of just going to a few universities and doing stand-up. Then they wanted me to host because they had seen me do Sunday show.
I'm with you.
So they'd come back on the weekend to London. They might go Sunday show and be like, oh, right, we should get Mo to host our Valentine's thing. And it was so interesting back then. That's why I got so much appreciation for those ACSs, because for a long time they helped me pay my bills, man.
I love that.
Because like you'd have the Freshers Week. They'd have shows. They might have something in Christmas time, like their Christmas
Freshers
show.
was like Black History Month, innit?
Yeah.
Come in.
You'd be like, oh, right, I've got 3 bookings. I've got to go Brunel.
Yeah.
Then I'm going Nottingham Trent for something.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day was the one.
Absolutely.
Because Valentine's, it was like, oh, we got a Valentine's showcase.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
we host it?
Yeah.
Or we got a comedy show.
Yeah.
Bradford was great for me. I remember going up to Bradford. I think one time
But
you
we
was there
did
in Bradford.
Bradford. I think it was me, you, Ori. I feel like Ori was there.
Yes, Ori was there.
Yeah.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So a lot of those uni shows were so good for me because one, I got to go outside of London.
Yep.
But I was still performing to my peers. So the appreciation for me going there, they were so like, oh, right, like, you're coming here.
But also
to our thing.
the training, bro. We don't appreciate
yes,
it just
yeah,
because
yeah.
we just thought it was normal. Those crowds, those uni students, if you weren't funny, they let you. They weren't.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't care. So like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
weren't
yeah,
funny,
yeah.
they let you know. So like,
Yeah,
that's
and
where
you got
the
man from ends as well,
Yo,
you know.
that's
Just because man are studying. Listen, I remember performing one time at Luton Uni.
Luton.
I said,
we left that name out.
I need to leave. Like, it went well, but I said, I got to leave now.
because they had their arms crossed, the knee to the side. The
Everyone from Northwest London, we're Luton.
But then the brother will come and tell you, I'm studying computer science. It's like,
Yeah,
you're studying computer science.
Yeah.
But those are the times when, if you weren't funny, they let you know. This is why I was saying, the Sunday show, like, with you, when you came around, during that time, it was like Culture's Comedy Funhouse. That was the place where we'd all go through. But like,
I always thought it was a lot more grown. Like, the first time I ever went there,
yeah,
it just had like a few more older people that wanted to
Absolutely.
like, gonna go to a comedy show with my girl, glass of wine,
Yeah.
get some food and
or
stuff.
pretend to play pools just in case, and with my fresh
Yeah,
tune.
but it was also like, it was that kind of like it had an older crowd, but almost it was like, there was always a thing about getting in. It's like, because if you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And it was like,
yeah,
I can't make it this week, man.
Yeah.
I got to come early for the next
there you
week.
go.
Do you know what I mean?
But when Sunday show, I remember coming to Sunday show and seeing you host. And there's a part of me, and I tell you this now, I felt like, this is a whole new generation.
Oh, big ups, man.
Real talk. But also for me, it was more also, am I even going to survive this generation? Because it just felt a lot more brutal. Yeah?
Yeah, it was.
Like, but what you did is you set that tone though, because the way you hosted, your subject matters said, if you can't make these people laugh on this, you're done. Luckily for me, I went through a few trainings, like the jump off.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The jump off had that same vibe. With the jump off, it was like you're coming to, Central, going underground, and they had Manny Nota as a big DJ. But then we had they'll have musicians and DJs, and it was very hip hop and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But then they had an element of comedy that was paper laugh, they called it. I think I did it. Babatunde did it one time. I'm not sure if you ever did.
I
Slim
done it a
did
bit
it
later on.
Bro, I was
remember.
one of the first one when they introduced that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just have to be funny and then you get paid. If you're
Didn't
not
you
funny.
have a thing? They have a thing on your
Yeah.
it says your name on it, right?
100%. So, Mo, I think there's some things going on like that.
I remember, yeah. Everyone
Bro,
had their name on like a thing.
And it was like, if you're not funny, first, you're not getting paid. And secondly, they will remember. So like,
Because they used to video it.
100%. It's on YouTube now.
Yeah,
so then
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment those things, it was nice. But coming into the Sunday show, it was a bit intimidating. So one of my first ones, I think it's also because they were just love from you. So the intro always helps because it was your audience. Like, They went with what you went to. They respected you. They loved you. They followed you. You had a cult. Real talk. That was a reality.
No, because I think that was like the BlackBerry days.
Yes.
But also, I knew that back then, like, I was like, Sunday Show was where I kind of found my audience.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like Corks was a bit older.
Yeah.
So talking about the subjects of going out raving,
Yeah.
the crowd was a bit like, yeah, we go cameos.
Yeah.
And it's okay for us to get in.
Fact.
Meanwhile, you lot have to wear shoes and
that.
shirts and all that stuff. So I felt I was a little bit younger, but with Sunday Show, people weren't coming for comedy. So it always helped. So you had people they were like, I just like, cool, I heard there's girls there.
Facts.
Like Napa told me to come. I got the BlackBerry message from him. So there might be some music, there's some poetry. But everyone, what was always interesting about Sunday Show is like, if you was a rapper, you had to bring it. If you was a singer, if you was a poet, like comedian, like everyone had to bring it. And it wasn't like a crowd that were like, boo, you're rubbish. But you really had guys from the roads there, you know. It's until I've now grown up.
They've never booed. I prefer to be booed. Like with Sunday Show, I preferred if you booed me. Thank God I've always survived it. But I've seen people on that stage and it just goes quiet. Yeah. It's against the character of what the Sunday Show is.
Yeah,
when everything goes quiet, including the DJ, it's a long night for you, you know.
Yes.
They'll just go, and then if they looked at you, the host as well, you're in the corner and I pretended to drink from an empty glass.
Oh yeah, because people used to look at me.
Of course they did, because bro, you was the king. What the king says is what happens. So if they turn and they looked at Mo, and Mo's there holding a glass with a straw, and the glass was empty and he's still sipping.
No, but it would be me, Napa, and Marvin, and it was so funny because people are looking at me like, "Hey, Mo." And it'll be the hood guys, you know. Hey, Mo, what one for my man? What's my man doing? And I'm like, he's doing his thing. And then Marvin used to do his thing where Marvin, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
So Marvin just be like,
that's Marvin. That's Marvin.
And then you got Napa, he will come up, but Napa's like, he was like the face, innit?
Yeah.
So he's like making sure the girls are coming in, the road guys have got champagne, innit? But then Napa would come up to me and be like, what's he like doing?
Literally.
What was he doing?
And it's all on you.
Brother, get this guy on stage.
And then you had to come on.
Because he's from East, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mo, bruv, get this guy off, bruv. I'm like, Naps, I can't do that,
bro,
man.
Then you had to come on and just breathe life back in. But that was, this is why for me, it's the training. Like where you're at now and how when I see you perform, I know. And it's like,
thanks, man.
Yeah, big ups to you because you could have just stuck with that. You've given structure to yourself. That international pill, though, it still comes. I still feel that Sunday showness.
Oh
if
yeah,
I use
man.
that word from
Yeah.
you know?
I think when you do training like that, and you know what it's like when you do those ACS shows or them shows that are intense environments.
Yeah,
it's like
man.
It's a comedy show, but the environment here is tense because this is an audience. This isn't like this is a night at the Hackney Empire.
Yeah.
This is like it's Sunday. There's a comedy show. People aren't really coming out for the comedy. They're coming out to come out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People want to get dressed up. You got to remember, this is also a time like during that kind of like 2010s where we weren't getting into these clubs in West End.
It was,
do you know what I mean? Like everyone knew that Sunday night was the black night.
Absolutely. And the fact that you guys, I think it was a Strawberry Moon, at one stage.
Strawberry Moon.
So, and Strawberry Moon was a club. On a normal day, you're not getting in.
I once went there on like a Friday. I was like, what is this? They're playing different songs.
You're not getting in.
Yeah.
But for me, I think, and I thank God for that, man, just for culture and the uniqueness that I came with. I realized talking about the things that I experienced at home and the things that my friends experienced that I didn't see a lot of people talking about made people happy. Because like you said, that road man was Nigerian. Do you know what I mean? They were Ghanaian. Yeah. They were Congolese as well as being Jamaican or Bayesian. So like, you'll say something, they'll go, I'm not going to lie to you, that is me. Those were the restrictions. They
just had to laugh.
Exactly, because it was like, it warmed them up. And then for me, the therapy was, I got a whole herd of people that get it, and we're now able to laugh at ourselves and also represent our culture together. Do you know what I mean? And that carried me for a long time and still does till today.
And speaking about representing the culture, I always got to give you your flowers of, putting on a show at the O2.
My guy.
Like, the first to ever do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I remember even when you was doing it at the time, it was almost like a promotional run where you was always at the shows.
Bro.
I remember seeing you on London's Tonight where they interviewed you.
I rinsed it.
And it was like, it was so interesting because nobody had ever done it then. Like nobody had even like even the Indigo at that point, like no one was doing one-man shows at the Indigo, let alone like the O2 Arena.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is that you smashed it out of the park. Do you know what I mean? It's like you had, like, we were in the O2. I remember at the time I didn't go.
Yeah.
But you see the pictures and like, I remember that you was wearing. Did you have Adidas tracksuit?
I did,
on?
man.
Yeah.
Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah,
by the way.
but
custom made.
But it's like you really set the scene for being more than being more than a comedian, because I think at the time it would have been easy to say, I can go Hackney Empire and do a show. Do you know what I mean? And that is our spiritual home for black comedy.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Is.
Not putting down what Hackney Empire is, but like that would be our go-to. So to say I'm doing the O2 Arena at a time where it's like I don't remember even like black artists performing at the O2 around that time. Do you know what I mean? Like now, yes, we have our Whiz Kids and everyone else performing there, but like we didn't even have musicians,
bro,
from our country there, let alone some of the Americans.
Yeah,
there. Do you know what I mean?
It's
and people
so
forget
funny
that.
when you say that. It's true.
You know,
it's true.
So what was that like for you? What was that moment? Because that's monumental, man.
Thank you, bro.
It really is. No, it's like when I got asked to do it, I'll be honest, I was so nervous. I was like, this ain't possible. But I was like, well, no, Eddie's done it.
Yeah.
Like, and he's done it. He's the guy. He's lived the dream. Do you know what I mean?
And let's be clear. And I love having this conversation. We've had it a few times, but like even now, it will never be boring or old to me, just because of what we experienced together, right? So by going back, like with the O2, the idea was always like, this can't just be it. Like doing shows, like I remember my first one-man show was at the Murmur Theatre in Blackfriars.
Yes,
And I was told then, as a comic, you haven't been around long enough for you to go and do a
Mermaid
Theatre.
Yes,
2007,
yes.
right?
And the capacity, what's the capacity?
The capacity of Murmur Theatre, like 600, 700.
Yes.
That first show, I was told you can't really, it's too early for you as a comic. But the year before, I'd won Best Young Comedian at the Black Entertainment Comedy Awards. Gina Yashi was sitting there. I saw Richard Blackwood there. I said, I made it. So like my team, like I always say, my Black Grape crew, Yolanda, T, Charlie, all these guys, right, Deji, they were so audacious, bro, in like every decision we made. That thing was always bigger. And it used to frighten me because I'm at the forefront of in terms of entertainment and comedy. They'll be like, we got to go for the bigger venue. Guys, like, calm down. We don't even have the money. We don't have the following. But we always went for more. So the Murmur Theatre at that time was already mad. We released the tickets. It sold out so quickly, but we couldn't add a second date. So we hired another room in the theatre and sold out another, I think 200 tickets, but I had to put a screen in there that connected the camera to the screen. And people bought those tickets. Oh, wow. So then that year we did the Murmur Theatre 3 times. Oh, wow. 2007, right? So by when I got to 08, I was doing the anniversary. The 4th show was the anniversary of the first show, right? And then the Indigo started kind of lurking. Now after that, we'd gone to the British Library. Near the British Library, there was a Shaw Theatre. That was like 500 capacity. Oh, yes, the Shaw Theatre. And at them times, I used to host the Shoot Dance Championship. So the first year I'd done it, it was second year, I saw Diversity perform and they'd won it. So I invited them as guests. Yeah. But the Murmur Theatre, I already knew about Flawless. So I invited Flawless because I love my dancing, right?
Big up Flawless,
so this is how I was building up. And then the Indigo came out of pretty much around the time where it was an after party venue for big concerts. Like Michael Jackson was going to do his concert, and then but it wasn't going to happen anymore. So the Indigo started becoming available, and then TS again was like, there's a big venue. I said, what's the capacity? He said, when he started going close to 2000, I said, calm down, put it up there. And it's like that imposter syndrome, brother, makes you go, these people don't really exist that are going to come and follow me. We sold it out. And then they start talking about, the O2, the dates are available now. Like there's nothing going on. Bro, keep me out of this conversation. But then I think, I know we always had this thing, right? Where it was, the world is bigger than this. We can't just be bouncing around our community, and our community was amazing, but it's like the world is bigger. We want to be seen in certain spaces and nobody's really paying attention. We've got to create our own path, and the only way we can create it is just to make noise. We do have a community, we do have a culture. This is what was sold to me, Mo, and I run with it. Every now and saying, nah, man, this is not it. And I was telling my friends like after the second thing, they go, yeah, I think we'll go for the O2. Just look at your friends' reaction. They wanted to be proud of you, but O2.
Because it's like they're nervous for you in
shook.
a sense of like, yes, you're my friend and I know how funny you are, but
they were shook.
It's the what if.
Bro, you can see in
It's
their
the
eyes.
buts.
You can see in the eyes of, are
you
you
know what I
sure,
mean?
Ed? And I had sleepless nights. When the O2 had said to us, cool. The first time we asked them, they said, do another Indigo, 3-month promotion, and let's see. 3 months we sold it out. They went,
There was that, you have to,
come.
Yeah,
and I think for them at the time as well, it was good for them to now diversify, right? And I remember releasing the tickets and the pre-sales sold out. Bro, I cried so much that night in shock because I just didn't. I remember the team coming to me and said, bro, I think we released maybe 1,500 tickets, something dumb like that. Sold out. And I said, me? You know what you got? Me? It was overwhelming. And then, but we also, because of, our status wasn't as big as the Peter case, we had like a 9-month run. And that's when the promo began. And during those promos, tickets slow down, innit, Mo? So it's just
of course.
Nothing's really happening. And then you're now going, nah, man, this is not going to happen. And then I start trying to low-key say to the team, it's all right, let's go back to the Indigo. They're like, big man, we've signed the contract.
We have to do it.
We have to do it.
Oh, man.
We, it's so crazy, right? So, I had a team, right? And Becky, we both know Becky. Becky,
man. Big up Becky, man.
Becky was doing the PR for me, and I love Becky to death. Me and Becky had a moment, and I just said to Becky, because everybody else were black. Yeah. Becky was the only one. I was like, you have some sentimental to you. These guys don't share that sentiment. Becky, I can't. She became my therapist. I Becky, I can't do this. Is not. She's like, Ed, you've got it. Listen, we'll write. She held my hand. We'll write. I said, just no, you go to them and said it's not going to work out. Let's figure out. Let's give ourselves another 2 years. She said, I was crying for real. I was like, I can't. It's gonna be embarrassing. She said, you've got the following. You've got the crowd. This is your moment. And I always love Becky for that because every now and then I'll come to her and just cry, bro. It was the hardest, just promo run. But when we got to the night of the O2, after doing, like you said, London Tonight, I remember that's the first, I went on Soccer AM, met Andy Cole.
Oh,
and that was the first time I met Kano.
Okay, yeah.
Right, but I see my hero, Andy Cole, this is the first time, and then Soccer AM invited me again to do another promo. There was all these shows I've never been on. Met Lenny Henry for the first time doing his chat show. And it was just like, what am I doing here?
Wow.
Yeah, those moments. But then on the night, we didn't sell out. We got a massive number of people. That's why I always say me and you connect, because there was that journey. I always knew it opened doors for so many things that came after that. To have even cause we didn't announce Tiny Temper. We didn't want it to be off the back of Tiny people turned up. We didn't announce N-dubs like that.
Yeah.
So it's like to have the culture there and sitting at the front had people that, Tinchy Schreider, who was the biggest artist at the time.
Man. Everyone came out.
Everybody came out. It was, for me, such a humbling experience, bro, that I always say it put me in a space that, no one else can ever take that away from me.
Yeah, exact same thing. When the night I finished, and I was like, I've done this thing, and no one ever can say that I didn't. I done it how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And